Hi everyone, I'm Jay.
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. And I'm Colin.
And this is Star Wars Conversations, the Last Jedi spoiler talk. So, the Last Jedi's come out, and we've both seen it twice, right?
You have, man.
And so, me and Colin have not discussed it off air at all since seeing the
No,
movie.
I've been avoiding you.
Yeah, we haven't spoken, so we thought we'd wait until we talked on here so that we could just have our opinions and disagree with each other or agree. Who knows?
I did watch your reaction video, though.
Yeah, I watched yours as well, and they pretty much matched up, I think.
Oh,
I did want to sort of make a point of I have noticed that a lot of people are quite disappointed, and I do understand why. There's stuff in there that I really like and there's stuff that I really don't like, and I can understand why that would make some people dislike the movie. And in fact, on Rotten Tomatoes, the critics obviously have
liked it.
majorly it's got 93%, but it's actually dropped even more on a fan perspective. The audience score is only 57%, so it's edging towards a rotten. So and it was at 60. I think it was at 64 yesterday, so it's dropped down a little bit.
And I'd probably like to quickly put the caveat out there is I don't care what people think.
No, of course not.
and,
Well,
and
that's the thing.
ultimately,
It's your own opinion, right?
Yeah, and I'm not. What I'm not going to do today is try to convince people to like it.
No.
I mean, I'm in the camp that I liked it.
Yeah.
But I'm not. But as you just said, I absolutely agree with a lot of the things people are pointing out.
Yeah.
It just don't bother me.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, sometimes you can watch a movie and there's certain things that bug somebody, but you can look past it, and it just depends on. Well, it's a certain point of view, right? People see things differently, and some things piss someone off a bit more than other people. So, I totally get why those things would bug people. So, with that being said, shall we just get into it and start having a little discussion about the movie? So. I mean, you just said that you like it. I agree with you. I overall liked it. So let's go with let's maybe go with things we liked first, and then things we didn't like. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So I'll let you start.
Let's just chuck bits out as we think of them. Okay. So, first thing I liked was Yoda.
You liked seeing him come back.
Yeah, that was cool.
I liked that. We should have probably put at the beginning this is spoilers, but I think I said it in the title, so
we will say it in the title. We'll have to put a big spoiler noise.
Yeah.
When you edit this, Jay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Spoiler. Yeah, I like Yoda. Look, I guess there's loads of things. I mean, there's loads of things I liked. First of all, I thought it looked really good.
Yeah.
The whole film was amazing. There were some really interesting shots, which I've not seen in a Star Wars film before, and the way that he filmed some of the fight scenes, some of the way that the angles of the ships and stuff. Thought that was really good. On the flip side of that, though, there was a couple of bits in it which I thought were completely wanky in terms of just didn't make sense in the way they were I couldn't understand what was going on when the ship went to light speed into the Star Destroyer.
Really? I really liked that.
I liked it, but I was like, well, what is happening? I was trying to watch it. I was like, well, what is actually happening here? Is it like the same shot from a different view?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
What was it? Tell me what it was.
So she hit them at light speed, right? And cut straight through Snoke's ship. But there was also a couple of other Star Destroyers behind it as well. So her ship cut through them as well. So you saw it from different angles because Snoke's one was a very different shape from the standard Star Destroyer.
I've just found that really confusing how it looked. I also thought, I'm going to some weird bit. The bit with Rey in the Sith hole.
Yes.
In the mirror bit.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What?
So that
wasn't even cool. You know what I mean?
So
I don't mind things being trippy and weird, but
it wasn't a weird thing. And did you take any meaning from it at all? So because I think that this was supposed to be the version on this island of Luke in the cave, right?
Yeah.
And you know,
but there were no stakes to it. It
and
wasn't scary.
they've said to her that her search is like for nothing. She's looking for nothing. She keeps finding herself. Yeah, and I think that's where they went with it. But it wasn't, because Luke says the cave drew her to the dark side. Right, you remember when she first, but there wasn't. It was just like her, and there's nothing else in there. There wasn't like, you know, when Luke goes into the cave and takes his weapons with him, and then he faces Vader, and inside Vader is him. You know, there was none of that. So, I mean, I think that was probably, in some ways, maybe they tried to be a bit too clever with some things, and it doesn't really work, because there should have been something to pay off with it. You know, them talking about that being a place where she's been drawn to the dark side. Nothing like that happened there. And then, of course, the only thing that came off that was that the next scene you saw her talking. You obviously initially think she's talking to Luke, and you see she's actually talking to Kylo Ren. That's something that I would like to say that I really liked, was the way that they started communing through the Force.
I like that. That's cool.
And in fact, it did two things with Kylo Ren, because it made you start to root for him a little bit. Well, at least it did with me, because you started to see that initially she hated him because of what he'd done, but then they were kind of, you know, facing similar things, and they started to understand each other a bit. And, I started to feel like he was going to sort of turn.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, I will say, I thought, and these aren't their real names, the character names, I can't be asked to think of the real names. Kylo Ren, Rey, Poe, all have really good in terms of the acting. I think all three of them had character development. I think all three of them, you know, would really meet you at what they did.
I thought the acting was good.
Overall. But on those three particularly, I think Mark Hamill was a bit too. Someone else, I think I read someone's comment somewhere. Mark Hamill was being Mark Hamill. And he did, and I don't know whether it's because Mark Hamill has merged into just like one character now, but
he kind of has, hasn't he?
Yeah, there was like it was like Mark Hamill. It wasn't like Luke. Sometimes I felt.
I think there's a couple of times where maybe he went a little bit like that, but overall, you know, I did think that he was quite good, and it's Luke 30 years later. You know, he's been. He's a changed person. Like, we change, you know. In 30 years, you'll change a little bit, you know.
Yeah, I'm not really talking about, you know, the choices of the character and the way what he did.
You just mean the way he acted it.
His acting, I just thought was a little bit, sometimes over the top, sometimes a little bit. He didn't seem like he was in character. So I mean, I guess it's probably because I've seen him more recently on, you know, doing the live things on the different things that he's done, and it was difficult to distinguish between Mark Hamill and Luke Skywalker in some of that.
I didn't really pick up on that. I mean, I can understand where you see that, definitely. But it wasn't anything that bothered me, because I did see a comment where someone was like, it wasn't Luke Skywalker, and I was like, it was Luke Skywalker to me. You know, it was...
I think the thing was, because there was quite a few comedy moments with him.
Yes. Yeah.
And particularly even like
the
first moment, that to me wasn't Luke Skywalker, that was Mark Hamill.
Right.
I know that wasn't him who wrote that bit, but it just didn't feel. It felt like a comedy bit,
well,
and
I think that's what. The last time you saw Luke as the Jedi Luke, because that was the most serious Luke, wasn't it?
Well, to be fair, the last time I saw Luke was in Battlefront 2 with his funny face. But even in that, he was mega serious, and he's all peace and love, peace and love. And like I say, I mean, again, Daniel is probably the most broken man, I think, over this film.
Yeah, right.
I'll go with Daniel Hackett, poor old Dan. I feel like giving him a big hug. And I think one of his major gripes is the way that Luke's been portrayed in this film. And you know what his decisions, and I mean, let's talk about Luke for a bit. Let's focus on Luke, right? Again, this film was directed differently than all the other films.
Yes.
It's got things like not just flashbacks, but flashbacks from different point of views.
And I liked that.
Yeah, I liked it, but it did make it hard. Like the bit when his face was really like dark side, when Kylo told the story, was like really. And I think again, it's hard to get that image out of your mind when you remember that scene. No matter which version you remember, I keep seeing in my head the crazy eyes, Luke, and it's so. But also, it's like the comedy, like it was comedy. It's like comedy acting in a soap rather than stuff.
But I mean, look, he's not like the greatest actor in the world, and he hasn't really done a lot of acting in a lot of years. So
well, he's done a lot of voice acting.
Yeah, but not like full human acting. The thing with those scenes, I actually really liked them because.
Yeah, I
liked the crazy-eyed version because
I love the bit when he drinks that milk. It's so weird.
No, but that scene where Kylo tells his version, right? Because then when she goes back to Luke and he goes, "Okay, no, I did have a lightsaber in my hand, and then I did sense the dark side of him," and then he kind of goes, "But I felt ashamed." But he goes, "I saw the eyes of a scared boy." And so, from Kylo's point of view, he did see Luke with a lightsaber standing over him about to kill him. And so, when you would tell that story, you'd be like, the dude was about to kill me. So, it'd be the crazy-eyed Luke, and then the action.
And I like the way that he effectively created Kylo Ren. I mean, I like that.
Yeah, me too.
And, but let's talk about the weird milk scene again. That was so. It was just his face going.
Well, there's
it cracked me up
because it was cheesy, right? That was a really cheesy bit because he turns around and like swigs the blue milk, it's all dripping down his beard, and then he does the bit where he gets on the big spear and he jumps across, and then he turns around and he looks at Rey like this look of like, look what I do, and I thought those bits looked a bit cheesy. I liked them.
I thought they were cheesy. Nuts. And in a way, I thought, yeah, this is what I want to see. Luke gone utterly mental, and that would probably explain it.
Long. He hasn't been there.
I know, but that's what I'm thinking. And also, he wasn't alone. He had those weirdo nun things.
Yeah.
And again, that reminded me of Batman '66. Every time, like Ray had a bomb, and every time she turned around, she was knocking over these nuns. I mean, again, I like the comedy in it, but I just and this is the thing, right? Star Wars always has had a load of comedy. That's what I always loved about the films. Is it's funny.
Yeah.
It's just the comedy in this is what it's like. If we jump to the no signal Poe and Hux conversation.
Oh yeah,
it was funny, and I was laughing at it both times when I watched it.
Yeah, but
it didn't feel like the kind of joke you'd have in a Star Wars film. It just felt weird. It felt too real.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But it's like modern day, right?
Yeah.
But because the whole holding on the line is something that is a joke here, and we've not sort of had that. Although I suppose on Coruscant or wherever they might have phones. I don't know. Maybe mobile phones are a thing.
I
think initially on that bit, I laughed at it, but at first I was like, yeah, that's a bit of a weird joke for Star Wars.
And right at the beginning.
Yeah, but then on watching it a second time, it bothered me less, and I just sort of embraced it a bit more. Like,
it's not really. It didn't bother me at all when I watched it either time. It just felt a bit off. And again, I felt they made Hux to comedic right at the beginning.
Yeah.
But again, on the comment,
he got slammed on the floor and he went, ah!
I mean, he was a right snivel. I mean, I love seeing Eddie Hitler in it. That was brilliant.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm all over the place here, Jay. Maybe we should have done it for the actual film story, but straight away
we can rein it back a bit. We've just gone off topic because we were talking Luke, and we've gone off that. So let's go back and let's look at the movie from the beginning. It started it picks up pretty much where the last one's left off, right? And I've seen a couple of articles today, one from the Wrap particularly, saying about how they kind of just ignore some of the stuff that was set up in The Force Awakens. There are a few plot points that they miss there.
Like what?
Well, they kind of like don't sort of the capital of the New Republic's been destroyed. That's nothing. All of a sudden, the First Order are like in power everywhere, and it's like, when did that suddenly happen?
Yeah,
I mean, like Starkiller Base has literally just been destroyed, and there's nothing to do with that at all.
Yeah, but it didn't. I didn't come across as.
And this isn't stuff that bothered me. Don't get me wrong. I'm just.
No, but none of that came across in the film to me. I mean, they ultimately.
No. But the point is that they just.
We only saw a small bit, didn't we? We didn't see the world. Apart from Canto Bight, which was a massive waste of time.
Now, oh god, that was probably the worst thing in the whole film for me.
It was such. It didn't make sense.
It was pointless. It was an absolute because me and Andrew talked about it quite a bit because she watched it with me yesterday, and this was a part of the movie that if it had never happened, they would have still ended up in the same place. And,
I know.
And also, Rose. I didn't like her character. In fact,
I told you
at the beginning, you saw her sister. And
yeah,
I liked
her
sister. She was more of a badass because, yes, she sacrificed herself, but like she was like, this was a moment kind of like in Rogue One where it's like, oh my god, like we're going to lose this, and she was like trapped under, she'd fallen, she'd hurt her leg, and she's trying to get out of it. With Rose,
but that didn't make sense either. Kicking the thing,
and then it dropped.
It's a bloody spaceship. It's not. You should be able to kick it and knock a bit off.
But that was, they had to find a way, right?
I mean, how slow did those bombers go, man?
Yeah, yeah. It's like eventually we'll get here. Yeah. But the thing with Rose, and I am going to skip a bit forward on this. So that little plot was stupid, and it was also very convenient because you had the bit where they go and tell Poe about their plan, and they talk to Maz Kanata. Somehow, I didn't know that Poe had her number. Like that just came from somewhere. But whatever, they talk to her. She's having a little shootout and tells them about this slicer that has the red flower, and he's the only guy that can do this. And he's not. And it just so happens that the guy in their cell, DJ, also is this brilliant slicer who can do everything they need, which was lucky. Gets them out of the cell. They free some Thaddeus, which all looked very sad. They have a little chase scene through Canto Bight where some of the CG in Canto Bight wasn't good. It looked a bit ropey.
And then, I mean, also you had that little thing on the Star Wars YouTube channel with C-3PO teaching them how to be robots. Well, that was pointless. I mean, you didn't see any bloody robots. I saw about one of them.
Yeah. But then they get to the end of it all, they're being chased by the police and that, and then she frees this Fadia and like the other herd of them. She's like, this was all worth it. Well, no, because they're going to get rounded up again, so you didn't save any of them.
Yeah.
They get away, get off the ship, and this was the whole point of DJ was just so they could find a way to make the First Order find out that they were changing the ships that they were going to escape on. That was the whole point of that. The Phasma fight was pointless and rubbish.
She was pointless and rubbish.
Now,
she should have just died in the bloody trash compactor.
But
what
that
rubbish!
Should have been much worse. She should have beaten Finn down. And then if it ended the same way, at least it would have been like, oh, she was a hard fight and then got unlucky and then got beaten. Instead it was like a couple of hits and he knocks her out,
Finn is not a big deal. Even though he likes to think he's Mr. Big Deal, he's not a big deal. And I thought he was wasting this film.
He was.
I thought it was a joke. I thought they made his character into a joke. I thought they made him look weak, and he hadn't learned anything from The Force Awakens. I felt they did him a massive disservice.
Well,
I
actually,
hated.
He did because he suddenly knew all about the tech, whereas before he wasn't. Right.
I like the way you mentioned he used to mop the floors.
But then that Vice Admiral Holdo, right? If she had, as me and Ange talked about it, it would have been a better plot if she was actually a traitor, because you could have avoided the whole thing with Finn and Rose going there and had Finn and Rose maybe go looking for Rey, right?
Yeah.
Holdo could be the one feeding back the information, because what was the point of Leia not telling Poe her plan and letting him keep getting in ships and getting her guys killed, right?
Yeah.
Whereas it could have then been, this is why I didn't tell you, because I didn't want her to find out that I knew. And you know what I mean? There'd have been a better plot going on there. Then the part, now this is where I skip forward with the Finn and Rose bit at the end where they're on Crate. Finn decides he's going to sacrifice himself. Now,
why?
I like Finn, right? But had he sacrificed himself, it'd have been like
pointless.
But it'd been like, okay, you know, he took out their big weapon. You know, they didn't, but that didn't happen. Instead, Rose hit him, crashed him, and then he got out, went up to her, and she goes, "You saved the ones you love." She kissed him, and then she collapsed back. Right at this point, I thought Rose is dead. If Rose was dead, but if Rose was dead, her character would have played out her story, and she would have saved Finn's life and died. Instead, then they ruined that by he goes, "Oh, she's hurt. Can you call sick bay?" And I was like, "What? Really? We don't need her anymore."
What would have been better was, rather than her knock him out of the way, her fly in herself.
Exactly, but either way, her finding a way to die heroically there would have been better than her continuing, because she's not a character, I think, that had enough development to need to go on, and the small part she could have played there would have just been better than that.
I didn't like the character at all. I mean, I knew from my first view of her, I don't know why.
You did.
Yeah. There was something about her face, annoying face.
The first time you see her, she's snivelling.
Yeah, and she looked like she'd done a fart in that picture, didn't she?
Okay, so
right, let's go back a bit.
Okay.
Let's go back to the first battle. Poe.
Yes.
Awesome.
Oh, that was well cool. Yeah.
I loved the way, and it was so well done in that his plan was really good, and I liked, and also giving the credit to the captain of the Dreadnought. He knew what was happening. It wasn't like, oh, it caught me out.
Yeah, they're less thick, right?
Yeah. Apart from Hux, he seems thick.
Yeah, he's got thicker. He's got thicker.
And without Eddie Hitler helping him, but it's just those shots were brilliant. It looked amazing.
Although sometimes when, firstly, Poe's one of my favourites, so I was glad to get more of him. But sometimes when he's flying his X-wing, I'm like, this dude must have the Force, because he's much better than Luke ever was as an X-wing pilot.
He's better than anyone.
Ever.
The only one that's on par with him is Hera.
Yeah, right.
And I don't know. That was cool. I mean, I love the concept of what happened. I love the fact that Poe messed it up, and the whole thing really was his fault. What I don't get is how he got in a position of having all that ready, and it just didn't. It was a lot of, you said earlier, convenient, and there was a lot in this film.
Yeah,
it's a convenient story to tell a story that really doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
and again, Star Wars is well known for not making sense. There's a lot of stuff. If you look at most of the films, I don't think there's any of the films that hasn't got bits in it that don't make sense. But this one particularly was just, it was more style over substance sometimes. And like the bombers look wicked, but they got ripped apart so quick, didn't they? I mean,
I did like a couple of those shots though. Like there was one where a TIE fighter hit a bomber and
it went through them,
and then it went through and it hit the next one as well. I thought that was pretty cool. And by the way, when we were saying about Poe flying, I did love the move where he's in the X-wing, closes the wings, goes through the gap, and the TIE fighter gets cut into pieces. That was very cool.
That was cool. It was cool. So that bit was all good. I like that. I guess my fundamental issue with the whole film really was this whole bit of them being a little bit faster than the First Order ships, and basically it's 2 hours of them being a little bit ahead of them and being chased.
Well, I think the First Order weren't really chasing them, were they? They were letting them do that so they run out of fuel. They were like, because he goes, they're out of our range for being destroyed. So Hux goes, that's all right. Let's just keep letting them know we're here. So we'll just keep bombarding because they're going to run out of fuel, and then they're just toying with them, really. But at the same time, that toying with them is convenient enough to give them time to do their whole plan and save the day.
It's like you just wipe them out.
Oh, of course you would, yeah. But I suppose, they're trying to build.
It's like a James Bond villain, isn't it?
Yeah, totally, exactly.
Let me leave you alone, James Bond. Well, you're never going to escape from this tied up bit of rock. It was. Yeah, I mean, generally the whole film was too long.
I think that it's the Canto Bight. If you took that whole part out, it would have made no difference, and it would have shortened the movie, and you'd have been right. Because that's, for me, it slows down there, because I'm kind of like, there's nothing really going on with that. I did like was this shot when I can't. Again, I'm a bit blurry from the two. The first time I saw it, I was sedated. The second time, I was just knackered. Was this scene where it made the ships look like an iron, and then the next minute they were in the ironing bit. That was weird. It was like a bit of a joke that the Star Destroyers are like irons. It was, but it actually made me laugh when.
Yeah, it made me laugh. But it was just weird. It was like a weird thing to do.
Yeah. And that was just, he was like, I'm going to try a little visual trick here, whatever. So I want to go back to what I was saying about Kylo Ren before. One thing that was good about him, but also bad. So when he was having all the communications with Rey, and it felt like, maybe he's going to help him out, and that will help him redeem himself and all that kind of stuff. Because you already saw him not shoot at Leia. And I want to go back to that in a minute.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
But obviously, I'm not going to say yet the whole part about Kylo Ren and what happens there. But when he decides not to turn, he disappoints you, right? Because I was kind of like, But then as a bad guy, he should disappoint you. I don't think he's a good enough baddie to be the big boss.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, again, someone else on McCoy, I can't remember who it was, said, you're only as good as your villain, and now that Snoke's dead, the villain is Kylo Ren, and he's a bit of a puss.
he worked as his sort of enforcer. We've had him, force choking people and all that stuff. But and so just to quickly go on to Snoke here, I was really liking Snoke. Right,
he was much better in this one.
He was powerful. You could tell he was really powerful, and the way that he died, I actually thought was clever in one way. And so, if I go from the first viewing of it, I was like, "No way!" And then obviously the fight breaks out, which that looked beautiful. And so then my thoughts while that was happening, I was like, "So who's going to be the big baddie? There must be someone else. There must be another one somewhere." And then obviously we know what happens. So it was quite clever in that obviously, when Kylo Ren says, I know what I need to do, he knows that he needs to just think about killing his enemy, which Snoke assumes is Rey. Obviously it isn't. But then it also left me really deflated after that, because once I knew that Ren was the new supreme leader, I was like, but Snoke was so powerful, and he's all messed up. So now he left you wanting to know, who was this guy? And you put the comment there, which was immediately what I thought. Yeah. Oh, we're going to get a book or a comic, which I'm probably not going to read. Right?
Yeah. I'm probably going to have to read and tell you about.
Yeah, but it's this. I wanted to see what he could do, because he could have turned out to be a really good big baddie, because it was going that way. And it almost felt like, and this is the same with Phasma, almost like Rian Johnson was like, I don't want to use them, so I'm just going to kill them off quick.
It was so weird, because it was just pointless the way they did it. Yeah. And Phasma again, what I'm particularly annoyed about is going through the effort of bloody reading that book and reading the crappy comic.
Right, I know, right?
Which neither of them were brilliant.
They pay off though in the end.
And then making her more of a badass, more of a survivor, more of a do what she wants to do. And it's just such a joke. She's rubbish.
So let's go back then to what we were saying before. You have the bit where Kylo Ren doesn't shoot at Leia.
Which was good.
I like
I
that
was
because
glad.
there's a conflict there. You can see it the whole way through the movie. He's still being pulled to the light.
Yeah.
And then I love that the TIE fighters come
Just
past him and take her out. He didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
And so, we lose Admiral Akbar, which was, when it happened, I went, oh, Leia. And I thought, my initial thought was like, so this is how they're doing it.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought, well, at least it's quick.
Yeah.
Was what I thought. I thought she was supposed to have a big part in this film.
Immediately after that, I went, oh, I'm pretty sure Admiral Akbar was sitting right behind her. He's dead. So I was like, oh, man, okay. What?
It's a trap!
Right, he didn't even say it.
I know. That was a missed opportunity, wasn't it?
I've seen a couple of people not like the Leia in space thing. I like it in what it was and what she does.
I like the idea.
I didn't like how it shot.
Looked.
Yeah, it looked like Mary Poppins. My mate Steve said that to me. He goes, "It looks like Mary Poppins." I'm like, "It did." When she's flying.
It looked like someone got a toy, and moved it along the screen. Yeah. It was so weird.
Yeah,
exactly. Again, a weird visual.
But what it actually was, I liked, because we've seen Leia sense people through the Force and stuff like that, and it's like, in the moment where she's dying, the Force.
So do you think that was involuntary, or do you think she could use the Force and she just pulled us?
Well, she's supposed to be strong in the Force, and I think it was involuntary because she wouldn't know what's happening at that moment. I think it was like the Force is with her and it guides her back.
Because what took me out of it again was I've seen a lot of films where people go out into space. I mean, most weeks, and like she didn't have any bloodshot eyes, or it was just like. Yeah,
her eyes were shut, and they did open, and they were bloodshot, but she did start to get a bit of icicles.
Crystal,
it wasn't as quick as, say, in Guardians.
I mean, she was in space for a long time.
Well, she was, or was she? Because was it one of those things like with Rey where like they slow it down because they had her music and like the Force, like it's this.
Yeah, but even
epic
before
moment of the Force and that, was it that it was just slowed down for us as.
There was a good minute or so from when the thing blew up to when we even got to that scene.
But is it like when we saw it? Because if you go to the end when Kylo Ren's holding the dice and they disappear, that's at the same time as Luke, right? So is it just because we're seeing it at different times, and then it would just be a way that they shot it? Was it like because they fly past, right? The ships fly past and she's in space, and then it shows us her in space. So it could be that the time lapse is not accurate.
I loved someone's comment. I really should make a note who made these comments. It was the one about when the little boy's looking into space, and there's the finger shoots past and going, "Oh, it was Leia."
I want to talk about him later, but we'll leave that till right at the end.
Yeah,
I like that. I did like one of the things that I felt in this movie that I quite liked, and things I've seen in the past when people talk about games like Force Unleashed and stuff like that, and, the Force powers and that were massive, right? And you get people being like, oh man, I wish they'd do that in like a movie. But then when they do, people don't necessarily like it. And it's like, even like with Rey, like when she goes, rocks to lift, and all these massive bolts just like, and they all just like split apart.
Cool.
I felt like some of the Force powers were bigger. Luke projecting himself, stuff like that. But I liked seeing different elements of the Force because we've only seen very little part of it. And I think.
I had no issue with any of the Force stuff. I thought it was all good.
Yeah, so did I.
And I like the way that Yoda can still use the Force even though he's dead. That's cool.
Right, and touch people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
Because he did seem a lot more solid than the Force Ghosts of the old films.
Yeah, right. Because he's hitting them with a stick.
It was quite cool. All right, let's skip a bit. So we talked about Rose in their introduction. We talked about film. We talked about that initial space battle. I thought it looked really good, but again, if you actually think about what's happening,
I think that it looked good. The script was good. The acting was good.
Yeah.
The plot had quite a lot of holes. And maybe wasn't as well thought through as a lot of the critics have made out. Because, as we say, like there's parts of it that just don't need to happen, and it would make no difference to the overall story if they were taken out. And the length was probably you know, look, hey, you hear that it's the longest Star Wars movie before you go in, you're like, yeah, man, awesome, we're getting a really long one. But sometimes a little bit less is more, and maybe taking a bit out of this, even if it's just like 10 minutes or 15 minutes, it might have made it feel a bit better.
Mm. Well, because even the scenes on a tissue were too long, I thought.
Well, actually, let's talk about those, because there is something that bugs me about, actually. And it's that Rey went to Luke to get trained, but you really don't see her getting trained. She trains herself.
You didn't get trained at all.
No, you see her playing with her stick, which they made nothing of, and I'm sure that stick should be something. It's got a lightsaber attached to it. And then she picks up his lightsaber and starts flinging it around, chops a rock in half, and that's it. That's all you see her do. The only bit of training that she got was the bit where she sits on the rock and
he gives her 3 lessons.
Yeah.
He said he's going to give her 3 lessons.
I think he only gave her 2. I don't remember the
third one. I don't know what the third one was.
But
the third one was go somewhere else for a lesson.
I did like that when Luke fell down, he used the Force to stop himself hitting the ground. That was good. But
again, that 1 minute they're saying he's completely closed off from the Force,
but then he uses
and next minute he's using his sticks to jump across and harpoon. You know, he couldn't do that without the Force.
But he actually uses the Force to stop himself at the ground, so he hasn't turned himself off to the Force.
Yeah,
because he's using it. The bit with the tree, it almost makes the tree irrelevant, because he just tells her that, you know, this is.
He's not even read the books.
These are the old texts. He's never read them. Page turn is there enough?
I wonder if Luke can't actually read. I mean, he was a dumbass farm boy, you know what I mean?
But, you know, like, there's this tree. We've heard the tree talk about. I think it's been in some of the comics they've mentioned these trees and stuff, right? And you've got the old text there, and then Yoda just blows the tree up. So yeah, see that, it's gone.
What I did like was actually they didn't really get into the Grey Jedi bit, because Luke wasn't really a Grey Jedi, was he? He was still a Jedi. He wasn't.
No, he was not. And I mean, and with
Last Jedi.
See, now with Rey, so after the throne room fight, apparently she is now, right? But after the throne room fight, when she almost touched hands with Kylo Ren, I wanted her to turn. I wanted her to join there, just because it would have been all right if then in the next one they bring her back.
She turns
something. Yeah, you know, or maybe she turns him and like she brings him back, or whatever, or they balance each other out, as you said before, that they together they balance it. But yeah, that bit was, the lightsaber gets destroyed. Anakin's lightsaber gets destroyed, although Rey's got it, and they're both unconscious. But apparently, it didn't affect Rey as much as it did to Kylo Ren, because she got up and took Snoke's ship and got out of there.
I must admit, again, that was another bit. I was like, "What's happened? Where is she?"
Well, yeah, that was again a convenient escape, because also she got past everyone.
Because isn't the next time you see her on the ship on the Falcon?
On the Falcon, yeah. So,
again, none of that makes sense.
No, because she's escaped from there. We don't know where Snoke's ship ends up, but she's on the Falcon.
So did she go back to a tissue and pick up the Falcon? Where was the Falcon? No, because the Falcon
dropped her off, and then he jumped.
And where did the Falcon go for all that time?
Chewie just went down to a bar somewhere, all that stuff was going, because he jumps in front of the dreadnought, right? And the rebels are getting shot at. The Resistance, who refer to themselves as rebels throughout it, although they're the Resistance.
Again, that was confusing.
Because that's different, right? Because the Imperial are the government, the First Order aren't, so they wouldn't be rebels. So Chewie just pisses off. He doesn't go and help his friends. He just gets out of there and leaves her to go onto the ship. For some reason, and then the next time you see her is on the Falcon. I did like that bit on Crate, because they played the music from.
I love that's one of my favourite bit. Mm-hmm. I think that was my favourite bit. I love that.
Although Chewie turns out to be as good of a pilot as Han ever was.
Well, it seems like Chewie was the one piloting all along.
It looks that way, doesn't it? Han just sat there and looked good.
Yeah, I mean, I love that scene. I thought, again, it reminded me of the Force Awakens scene with the Falcon, which again is a brilliant bit. I love that bit as well.
Yeah.
And having the music, that was.
But That was
worth
cool.
quite a mission on its own.
I did like having Ray in the gunner seat and takes out 3 TIE fighters in one shot. That was pretty cool.
That's wicked. I loved it. Let's talk a bit. Let's go back to Leia a little bit.
Okay.
So, what did you think of Leia's journey in this film and what they did with her ultimately? I thought it was good.
Yeah, I did. I thought that she was good in it.
Again, I think Ryan Johnson's a bit of a snide, really, because
what do you mean?
he's avoided all the issues from the Force Awakens. He's avoided the fact that she's dead and hasn't dealt with that either in real life.
Well, I did
So,
think that at the end.
he's just like he's just done an easy. He's ignored all the things he doesn't want to deal with.
Well, yeah, because at the very end, because obviously she got sucked down space.
She could have been
initially,
killed.
I thought that was that, and then she didn't. So then she's in a coma, and then she comes out from coma. So I was kind of like, okay, what are they going to do with her? And I'm like, oh, they must be wrapping it up somehow before we go into the next movie. No, she's sitting there right next to Poe, and he's just gone, I'll tell you what, JJ, you can deal with it. That's literally what he's done there.
It's like, it reminded me of, I don't know, did you read the Brian Bendis run on Daredevil, and then at the end of it, he drops the mic and puts Daredevil in prison, and then Brubaker has to pick it up. And, it's like,
yeah, it's I mean, I personally would still be like, just recast her. I think that's what they should do. I don't think they will, but the thing is, they said that 9 was supposed to be a very Leia-heavy movie. That was their original plot that they've worked out for it. Yeah, they've talked about when Colin Trevorrow...
I thought this one was Leia-heavy. It was quite heavy, anyway.
When Colin Trevorrow was working on 9, when he was working on writing it, there was a very Leia-heavy story, supposedly. Okay. So obviously they're going to have to cut that down a bit. Or like totally, but yeah, I mean, I would be okay with them recasting her. I don't know that it would necessarily sit well with everyone. Some people would. If you got someone really good who did real justice to the character and to what Carrie Fisher had done, like a really good actress, initially it'd be a bit weird, and then you go, okay, she's Leia now, and you would just carry on watching the movie. But you can't.
Part of me thinks it's not worth doing it for one more film. Part of me just thinks
it depends on what they want to do with her, and then is killing her off a good way to do the character justice and her work on her, or how are they going to do that? And if they are going to, who are you going to use? You don't want to just have her shots from behind.
Yeah, I think a good twist would have been the fact that because her twin died, she goes as well. It's almost like a...
But yeah, they could have done that.
Yeah.
And that would have... You could have explained that, although I feel like a lot of things in this movie that he didn't really want to go into explaining.
No.
So I don't think it would have come off so well. And then I don't know how easy you could then say, well, in between this one and the next one, that's what happens.
No. You'd have to have a scene now. You've got to have a scene which she dies if she's going to die.
Yeah.
I mean, I just can't see... I mean, unless they just use stock footage, a bit of CGI...
Supposedly she has got quite a bit that she filmed in this movie that isn't used. So there might be some other stuff that they could use, maybe. But obviously we don't know. We don't know what they've got there. So yeah, I like Leia. I love the bit where Luke is in front of her and he kisses her on the head. I thought that was really good.
I loved R2 showing him the Leia hologram.
Yeah, that was good.
That was brilliant.
Yeah, that was very good.
What do you think of the Porgs?
Porgs, I didn't hate them. The bit where Chewie was about to eat one, I thought was brilliant.
Yeah, that was brilliant.
They didn't need to be all over the ship. I understood that, they probably got on there and stuff, but to have that one like slapping into the glass.
They are the tribbles of the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, and does that mean we're just going to have them like hanging around on the ship from now on? I didn't really need them after that. I didn't need them after the island, to be honest. But the bit on the island where he was going to eat one, that was funny, but that's really all it should have been. And again, with the crystal foxes, they look nice.
I love them.
But they were just there to show them that there was a hole somewhere. and after
Again,
scanning the base, like
I mean, it's
droids
just
hadn't
so
found
again. That was stupid. That why make a? It's like that. Say it was lazy writing, I
that.
thought,
Hmm.
or bad writing in some respects. There could have been a million reasons why they couldn't get out the
And
back door.
and actually, with Crate, in fact, the whole bit where they're on the ship, and then Leia finally lets Poe in on the whole plan that didn't need to get all their guys killed because now there's only 400 of them left, and goes, see that planet, it's an old rebel base that's heavily armored, blah blah blah. So we're going to go there. But they literally get there, the First Order land as well, and then they evacuate it again.
Also,
it's like, why did you go there?
Keep the door open.
Yeah.
Why keep the door open? Just shut the door.
Yeah.
I'm sure they didn't need Leia to keep watch.
Well,
just shut that door.
Other people that they could have on watch anyway, but yeah. Gareth Edwards gets a cameo in that bit as well.
Yeah, I saw that. Who was the bloke that actually said the bit about salt? Was that someone famous or?
I can't remember what he looked like. I didn't pick up if it was. It probably was, but I didn't pick up on it.
Which ones do you reckon was Harry and?
I think
it was the ones with the.
John Boyega reckons that they've been cut, that they're not in it. But if they haven't, then I reckon they're either the two that were going to cut their heads off, or when they march them in, the two standing behind them.
I thought when they marched them, I thought, well, that's an obvious one for a good cameo shot.
Yeah. So I reckon it'd be those.
Okay. What did you think of the bit on the, John Boyega and thingy on the ship? I mean, that was a waste of time, wasn't it? It was rubbish.
Yeah, well, the bit that leads up to Phasma and all that, the whole mission, I thought it was a waste of time. Although I do want to point out, right at the beginning, Poe Dameron, Finn, naked, leaky suit. The whole bit with Finn and Rose for me didn't work. And I still like Finn, because I like the new characters. I like Finn, I like Rey, I like Poe, I like Kylo Ren, I like all these characters.
I like the new lady, the purple hair lady.
That's Vice Admiral Holdo.
Yeah, I liked her. Holdo.
She's dead now.
I know. She was probably the best thing in it.
But her being a traitor would have been a better plot.
It would have been.
Especially at that point where Poe goes, you're fueling up all the the ships, and he goes, all of them, and he's like, what's going on? And he turns on her. You know, that would have been perfect for her to be feeding back the information, because it's like, these aren't armed and they've got no shields. We're going to get everyone in them. You can take us out. And that would be then there'd be a reason for him not knowing what was going on the whole time. One thing I did like, and it's another thing that maybe is a little bit like Rogue One, was that there's a bit of infighting within the Resistance. And I thought that was good, because they wouldn't be. They're just dragged from all over the place. So some might not agree with the way, because they're not a proper military unit, really. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're trying to.
Where was Snap in this film?
I actually thought that the other day. I was like, because he didn't die in The Force Awakens.
No, and I thought at first I thought, the bloke that died with a beard at the beginning battle, was that him? But it wasn't him, was it?
It wasn't. No.
No.
So I actually thought as well. I was like, because they've made a big thing of him as a character, because he's in the books and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I was watching The Force Awakens before I watched my second showing, and I thought to myself, hold on a minute, he doesn't die in this, and he's not in the new movie. Whereas, because the other guy's Bullethead, he's there.
Ning Num's in there.
Ning Num's there, and he doesn't die, so that's good. We've still got one of our aliens from the originals. And again, while I was watching this, and you're seeing the Resistance being depleted, and then they put out the signal and no one answers, and I thought, why isn't Lando around?
Yeah.
Lando's a general, right? Like, why isn't he around to help these guys? Because Leia's his friend. He would be there to help them. So little things like that were
doing a little clap.
It's not happening, of course. Yeah, silent clap in the background. Those things are things that aren't put in for any good reason. And I think Rian Johnson said something like, there wasn't anywhere to fit him in, but there was.
Yeah,
there was plenty of space to fit him in. He would have just been there helping. One thing that to slightly go to something else that I've moaned about a lot, I did like that the First Order is really imposing, and this is the first time I've ever felt like the rebellion side are getting crushed.
Yeah, they were all over them.
There's 400 of them left by the end of it. Probably less after the Great Battle, right?
Well, there's a Falcon Fall. I mean, people can
there's a Falcon
Falcon.
Fall. So there's a handful of them, right?
Yeah.
And not quite the same, but for me, Star Wars Rebels should be in that way. Not because I know they're building the rebellion, but the Imperials in that should be so imposing and so powerful. Because when you get to Rogue One, that's their first major win. And that's where they get the New Hope and carry on, right? And that would be cool, because this is essentially what's happening here, right? They've been bad, and it's like, no, but the war's just beginning. What about... Oh, go on.
No, I was just going to say, is, I mean, where the films ended up is they've taken it to the bare minimum, and now it's got to be built up. Episode 9's got to be about building up.
So they can do whatever they want.
We've got to talk about Episode 9 later, but go on. What were you going to say?
No, I was just going to say, so... Let's go to Crate, Kylo Ren, Luke. So what did you think of that part?
Loved it.
Yeah, I did.
Absolutely loved it. Because also, I thought, again, when Luke first turns up in the corner, obviously I guessed he was going to turn up.
Yeah.
But I thought to myself, this is a bit cheesy, how he's got there. And I know that they showed that shot of the X-Wing under the water, so you could think, oh, that's how he got there.
Yeah.
That's the only reason
I liked seeing his X-Wing under the water, by the way.
Yeah, I like that as well. I would like to have seen him pull it out.
Yeah, I wanted that.
But
I wanted him to make Rey do it.
One thing I did feel was, I felt sorry for you, was I didn't see him do a force flip.
I know, that pissed me off, man.
But... I must admit, I was thinking to myself, this is, again, too convenient that he's got there just in time. And so I really liked the way that he did the force projection. I mean, I didn't guess that at all. No. And, I mean, when all the things were being shot at him, I thought that was wicked. And again, that goes back to Force Unleashed. Yeah, and I liked his look. He looked like... I mean, again, I thought
he looked like the last time Kylo Ren saw him.
Yeah, and I thought, at first I thought, oh, this is a bit weird because his beard's not very grey. And that kind of, I thought, well, maybe with the shorter beard, he's not as grey because it's shorter or something. But, and he looked like, I mean, what was good there was he looked like what I wanted him to look like. Mm-hmm. When you imagine what Luke was going to look like when he was older, when you were a kid, that's what he looked like.
Yeah.
And so that was cool. I still don't get, and this is jumping around again, why he took off his pyjamas at the beginning of the film, and why was it, so I get he's trying to distance himself from being a Jedi Master. That's why he wore that normal black clothes or whatever. But why was he wearing them anyway? Well, so you only wear them when he's not being seen. It's really weird.
Well, maybe it's just what he was wearing that day. Because when he went to burn the tree, he was wearing them again.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. It's more like, oh, now they've gone, I'll put them back on.
Well, maybe it's just a different day, and he's like changed his clothes so he doesn't smell too much.
He didn't look like he was bothered about that when he was sucking blue milk, his titty milk.
The projection I thought was really good because, you're seeing Luke's pretty damn powerful to do that across the galaxy. For one, I like him floating while he's meditating, and you can see how hard he's having to concentrate to do it, and then he's like knackered and he drops down, but he fell and he's on the rock, and then he's on the floor. So what did he roll off? And he's like climbing like he's looking all hurt, so like he'd fallen and hurt himself.
And his death scene was brilliant.
Yes, I did like that.
I thought it was perfect.
Like it.
No, I thought it was perfect. It was, again, he'd redeemed himself. He'd done what needed to be done. He saw the twin sons. Yeah. His delirium.
Yeah.
And then he just let go.
Yeah, and for him, he'd helped the rebels escape. He was probably content that Rey was in the right place. Well, I think
it's more... Also, he knew he'd be more powerful to her now as a Force Ghost.
Yes, and I hope that he will be.
Oh, he's got to be.
And in fact... I hope he's more than that, because he said to Kylo Ren, if you strike me down in anger, I'll
I'm
always
going
be
to
with
haunt
you. And I hope that he is tormenting him.
He's
and
going to do a
helping
Jar
her.
Jar on him.
Yeah.
Like Jar Jar and Annie.
Yeah.
Annie!
But I hope
He's a
I hope they go there with that. That's what they should
I
do.
hope so. Well, because to be honest, and again, we'll start to get into what we want from the next film. Hello, Teddy.
Well,
I want Kylo to go mental now. I just want him to go insane with not being able to cope with all this and being fucking horse haunted. And
the thing with Kylo is he's still like young and full of emotion. So even though he's taken over as supreme leader, all right, he's not because he's not calm and calculated. He's run by his emotions, so he just makes erratic decisions and just screws up.
You know.
No, exactly.
As soon as Hux could get rid of him, he would. You know?
Well, I liked when he was about to shoot him, and then he woke up and he put his gun away. That was good. One thing about Luke dying that I thought that would have been quite good, because obviously you see him, he's looking out at the suns, and that would be if somehow through the plot he'd ended up back on Tatooine, and the last time he's on Tatooine looking at the suns, like where he began. That would have been quite a nice way for him to end. But still, I liked it. I thought it was good, and I was happy that he became one with the Force. You know, he'd gone there, as he said, to die. He looks at his sons, meditates, and he just joins the Force.
I would have liked to have seen him sacrificed against fighting Snoke or something like that. I think that would have been better.
Yeah, of course.
But
we weren't going to get that because halfway through the
so
movie...
let's talk about Snoke then. Let's talk about Snoke. We're not finding out who he was. The fact that he died.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on it?
Well, that's what I said earlier. You know, on the first viewing when it happened, I was like, "No way!" Yeah, no, it really was. I was like, and all I thought was, so who's going to be the main bad? Who is the main baddie? Because it didn't occur to me that it would be Kylo Ren.
No,
because I thought to myself, because I don't see him as powerful enough to be the main baddie, you know. I mean, even now he's come off second to Rey, and she's not at her full power yet, you know. And so there was a big part of me that was starting to root for him and her together to join forces, and you know, I was like, oh, this is how they're going to do it, and there must be someone bigger. And then he you know, I liked that when he was trying to tell her to join him, she was like, don't go here. I think there was a certain amount of that being genuine as well, because
I agree.
The point where he says about her parents, and he's like, they discarded you, and he goes, you were nothing to them, but you're not to me. And I don't think he was lying to get her. I think he really feels that way, because he's very emotional, and that's why I think that he does mean that. He really feels that way, and then her not going with him is a betrayal to him. Because I helped you.
It's rejection, isn't it?
I helped you. Yeah, I helped you here. I killed my master. And at the same time, are we going to see, if she is going to be a Jedi, are we going to see the Sith come back? Because he's done what the Sith do. He's killed his master. You know. So is he going to, even though he says kill the past, kill the Sith, kill the
Snoke is not a Sith, I don't think.
No,
and if anyone's a grey Jedi type thing, it's Snoke. He's the one that's not really affiliated to anything, it seems.
Snoke loved to brag about what he could do, which was his downfall, because he, you know, I'm the one that made your mind's bridge through the Force.
But they still have that bridge after he died.
I know they do, and I like that. I like that.
But is that a plot?
Although, I was like, does that mean that Kylo Ren's going to be able to track her wherever she goes?
Or does it mean he's still alive? Snoke.
Who knows? He didn't look very alive with his tongue hanging out on the floor.
But the thing is, what do we know about Snoke? We already know that he uses holograms to project himself.
We know that he's really powerful.
He could, surely his consciousness could have left that body. He could have a million bodies somewhere, like the Empire.
He was taken by surprise, wasn't he? I mean, if you've got a load of bodies, why would you use that one, the all fucked up one?
No, but what I'm saying is they could all be fucked up. You know what I mean?
Maybe. I did like when when Rey tried to take the lightsaber and he flung around and smacked her in the head with it.
Again, weird. That's not something you'd expect.
No, but also, you know, but good and in a way a bit real, because if you're gonna mess someone, like if you were trying to take it and you're more powerful than them, you take it and smack them in the head with it, like just to toy with them and mess with them, because
can we just say how rubbish the Lobster Boys were?
the Praetorian Guards.
Yeah, the Clitoris Guards.
I thought they were quite good, actually. I mean,
they were. No, every time Snoke was threatened, they just did a funny pose rather than actually doing anything. It was so stupid.
I liked that fight, and yes, they did get their asses kicked.
The fight was good, but every time Snoke was in danger, or they perceived him to be in danger, all they did was do a Power Rangers move. It was like, you are rubbish. It was so cheesy.
I don't know. I didn't feel that from them. I'll tell you what, though.
And I hated the throne room. I hated that red background.
Really? Did you? I liked that. I thought it looked really good.
Stage.
I liked it, and I think it was meant to be theatrical. I mean, he even wears gold robes, for God's sake.
I know. But this is the thing.
That character.
I would have loved seeing that. I'm just going and see more of Snoke because he seemed like a nutcase to me. I love him. Anyone that wears a gold robe and dresses up everyone.
I'll tell you what, I was surprised when he stood up though, because I've seen. Well, I knew he was meant to be 7 foot tall, but I've seen the pictures when they did the concept art for him. They drew him without his robes, and he had like this curved spine, and he was all crippled, and his hands were like that. So you can find those pictures online where he's all bent up and everything. So when I first saw him stand up, I thought, so is he like draining the Force from Kylo Ren, and is that like how he's like strengthening himself, and actually he is crippled? Because when you look at him, he does look like he should be crippled, but then he's like all straight and he looks quite strong, really, And like when he pulled Rey over to him, he was huge. His hand was massive next to her head, and his head was massive. But he the problem with him, and I was seeing a lot of people on forums. I mean, look, if people didn't like it, they're pissed off right now. We've just seen the film. If you didn't like it right now, you're probably very pissed off. And a lot of people going, Snoke was worse than Jar Jar Binks. He's the most stupid, wasted character. I think that's a bit extreme. I don't think he was worse than Jar Jar Binks by any means. But he was wasted for sure, in my opinion. I would have liked to see more of him because I didn't think a lot of him in The Force Awakens, but he was only a hologram. And now we finally get to see him, and I actually thought he was cool, and then he just gets killed.
This is the one I do agree with a lot of the critics of this.
I did like the lightsaber coming out of him and him just falling in half. That was
the Force Awakens built up a lot of things, and this film just knocked it all down and didn't answer it, or ignored it. And I do find it really frustrating. It's almost like a fingers up to the fanboys. Like, for the past 2 years, all we've had are people doing theory videos like us, things like that. And it's like, it's almost like I'll screw you, you and your theories.
Yeah.
Here's what we're not going to do any of it. Almost to spite people.
Yeah, I agree.
And
it does feel that way, doesn't it?
And look, I think there's two sides to this, because also I think it's overhyped, and because of that theory, and that's why people are so disappointed, because we've spent 2 years trying to work out what was going to happen. It's just a sign of the times, you know what I mean? And the internet and the way that things are.
Yeah.
But everyone has spent so much time analysing, thinking about what it could be, that I don't think whatever they did, there was going to be people unhappy no matter what the answer.
Of course.
But I think even more so that because they decided to go, no, we're not going to do anything with Snoke, and we're not going to do anything with Rey, I think that was just a double blow. I think if I'd done it with one of them, fine.
Yeah.
But because also, to me, and we've had this sort of discussion before about what makes a saga film and what just makes a standalone film. And me, the saga films it's about the Skywalkers or the family anyway. And admittedly, Kylo is a Skywalker.
Skywalker, yeah, he's got the blood.
But he's not the main character, Rey is. Now, that might change by the next one. This might all be the journey of Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
For all we know.
Yeah.
But I don't think so. And what's frustrating is Rey, I'm not saying she had to be a Skywalker, but there had to be some kind of connection in my mind for her to be the main character.
Well, I think that they were actually making a big point to try and point
Steer that
away
away.
from it being about just the Skywalkers. I think they want to, because they want the freedom right down the line to be able to tell other stories, but keep it
But surely,
in this timeline.
I mean, I don't think it works for them to keep on with episode numbered films. I think once this trilogy's done, they shouldn't do another trilogy with saga numbering. I think they should just do different trilogies or different stories.
I think that they want to have an ongoing saga and other stuff, like go to like 2 a year or whatever. But
it's a bit like with comics. You don't, after a certain amount of issues,
you don't need to keep.
You don't want the numbers because it stops people from jumping on.
Yeah, I mean that tale can wrap up. I mean even without the First Order, if you went to the end of Jedi and maybe went a little bit beyond that, where the Imperials got defeated, that was really as far as the story needed to go, but now they've brought in new Bradley and they're picking up where these characters are later on. It's always war. It's like there's never any time there's no war.
Let's just do a quick fire on a few characters then.
Okay, yeah.
R2D2 wasted, C3PO wasted.
Oh, actually, so about those two, right? Do you think that we're going to get those droids killed off soon? Because, BB-8 is the new R2, right? Yeah. Luke's gone now, and R2 was shut down the whole time he was gone before. Now, when he finds out, because he's still on Falcon, is he going to be like, what the hell, man? Because he didn't get to say bye to Luke. 3PO's barely used. And Anthony Daniels isn't going to be able to keep playing forever, right? So, do you think that they want to try and edge us away from those droids?
I think they're writing them out
anymore.
Yeah, I think they're writing them out.
Do you think they'll kill them? Do you think they'll destroy them?
And I think they will still be in every film because that's just a tradition.
Yeah.
But I don't think there'll be a character in it.
They'll just be in the background a bit. Yeah. A little cameo or whatever.
They're like Akbar.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think that's what's going to happen with them. Chewie, I thought, again, didn't have much to do, but I did like that he came in and tried to get Luke and that.
Although Ange made quite a good point about Chewie, which once she said it, I agreed. He came in and, Luke was like, where's Han, right? But if you think back to, Luke formed a friendship with Chewie all those years back. Yeah. From the first time he tried to put the binders on him where he was aggressive to him, but later on he's hugging him and stuff.
Yeah.
And she was like, so hold on a minute. So the whole time that Rey's sleeping up there, Luke's in his hut, and Chewie's just sat down on the Falcon on his Jack Jones. She's like, they should have had, maybe when Rey was trying to bug Luke to train or whatever, maybe he should have been having some dinner with Chewie, hanging out with him, or just have Chewie around a bit, because I was like, yeah, he knows him, he knows this guy, he's his mate.
Yeah, but
he wasn't just sitting there on his own.
But Luke's distanced himself from everybody, hasn't he?
I know, but now that he's seen them again, Chewie's back. It's because he's not aggressive to Chewie when he sees him, he's all right with him. When he sees R2, he's all right with him. So you think that you'd
no, I don't think they would. I don't think he would have.
Because Chewie kind of gets left on the side. He's a bit of a forgotten character until they just need someone to fly the ship. He's like, he's just there somewhere,
He wasn't used very well.
And I'd like to see that a bit. I'd like to see a bit of that connection, especially as now, Luke's going there.
I like the way they really made a point to see Chewie and Leia hug at the end.
Yeah.
That was over. Yeah, you know what I mean? Let's make this up. Alright, so who else? What other characters are in this thing? DJ, rubbish, that's not in Bob talking about him.
Yeah, DJ,
waste of time.
Unless he's going to come back as somebody.
I don't want him to come back. I ain't reading that comic either. I'm telling you now, I'm not reading the comic on purpose.
They're doing one of him, aren't they? I don't really see what the point of him is.
I'm not reading Canto Biot book, and I'm not reading that comic on purpose.
Okay. There you go, everyone. No reviews on that from Colin.
No.
Who else? Hux. I think Hux. I enjoyed Hux. He's still evil. He's he, as you say, he's a bit of a James Bond villain. Got slapped around a lot in this film compared to in the last one. In the last one, in The Force Awakens, they played characters like him a little bit more serious.
Yeah.
In this, he was used a bit for comedy value.
I didn't get why Snoke was pleased with him for letting the Dreadnought getting blown up.
Well, only he wasn't until Hux told him that they're able to track it through light speed, and then he calls him something, doesn't he? He calls him a rabid cur. He says to Kylo Ren, "This is why I keep a rabid cur around." It's like, okay.
But surely it would have been better for him just to have
shot. He could hear it.
Surely it would have been better for him just to have caught them in the first place.
Oh, of course. After he'd smacked his face off the ground.
Oh, and here's a question. So someone said that Finn says a swear word in it.
Yeah, and I saw that in an article. I don't remember hearing that.
And so it was bastard, apparently.
Is that a swear word?
And there was a bit I can remember in Haze of him saying something. I didn't quite understand what he said. But
is that a swear word?
Well, it is a swear word.
Okay.
Used in a certain context. But also, it's a weird word for him to use as a swear word, in that character.
Yeah. Well, another one that was weird was when
Godspeed bit.
Godspeed. I was like, who's God? Because that was just another an Earth phrase that was chucked.
But again, I mean, there's gods, isn't there? And they've established the word gods in the films.
Have they?
Goldenrod, he was a god.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, cool. All right.
So,
because I'd forgotten that, so when she said it, I was like, that's a weird thing for her to say. It's a very Earth thing to say.
So they've established gods.
Yeah.
It's just... And so she could have a god from whatever planet she's from.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was just weird. Again, it was just weird, because also she had a southern accent, which is weird.
Well, maybe she came from the south of the galaxy.
Yeah.
So let's...
maybe that's why she didn't... I can't... Oh, no.
Let's wrap this up then, because we've been going on now for about an hour and 10. So,
so general opinion, what score would you give it?
So I've only watched it twice so far, so it's a bit difficult to give an accurate.
Well, yeah.
So,
look,
so what I said
at this stage, you're not having to commit to it for the rest of your life. What are you saying now?
So what I've said to people is currently I place it either just in front of or just behind Return of the Jedi for me in my likes. I'd give it about a 7.5. I had fun, I enjoyed it. I didn't dislike it. There were things that I didn't like in the movie, but the things I liked outweighed the things I didn't like. So overall, I'll say about a 7.5. And when I whinge about things like Rebels and that, this didn't have the stupidity that I feel from those films, from those cartoons and stuff.
Well, there were some stupid bits.
There were, but not on the level that you get with those. So I felt like, about 7.5. I enjoyed it, I had fun. I'll really be able to tell when I still think about, I want to go and see it again. Like, I'm still like, I want to go watch it again. So
I must admit, I'm not desperate to see it again like I was The Force Awakens.
Right.
I do want to see it again, and I will go and see it probably on Boxing Day next, when I'm going to probably see it. But I haven't got an urge to see it before then, really. I'm quite happy to leave it a good week now.
So
that's only a week, I guess.
I find myself like all day yesterday. I was like, oh man, I'll go watch it again, and I've been like that today as well. I was like, I want to go watch it. So, I think I had a good time with it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I mean, at the end of the day, I love Star Wars films, and that was a Star Wars film, so of course I'm going to like it. Brilliant.
Yeah. Cool. So, what rating do you give out of 10?
9.
9?
Yeah, why not? I enjoyed it.
Yeah, cool. No, good. I'm glad as well. And as I say, I understand why some people didn't. I think that I preferred it on a second viewing, and as I said earlier on the new group was that for me, I think I enjoyed it more the second time because I was aware of the things that I didn't like so much. So going into it, I kind of, I was like, okay, I know this is going to happen, so I could kind of enjoy the things I liked a bit more, So I enjoyed it. Currently I'll give it a 7.5.
Well, when I rate things, I rate it how much I enjoyed it. I don't compare it to anything else. So, like, for instance, you can't put my rating of this as a 9. I also gave Justice League a 9. But I also gave my favourite film ever in the world, like Leon, a 9.
Right.
um, and not comparable at all. So, but it's how much I enjoyed them when I watched them.
Right. Okay.
That's how I score films.
Okay.
And so I really enjoyed it when I watched it. So it's 9.
Okay. Cool. Good. Right. So I think that will be it then. We'll wrap
Well,
this up.
let's have a quick chat. What we think about episode 9. What
About
we would
episode
like
9. Okay. Oh,
yeah.
God. Well,
not too much, but what from this film now. I mean, again, we will analyse this in the future.
I feel bad for JJ in a way.
Yeah.
Because as you said,
we want to see Force Ghost Luke.
Yeah, I want to see him come up with a good wrap up for Leia's story. This is going to be the hard part for him. Force Ghost Luke. I'd like to see him tormenting Kylo Ren. I
want to see Kylo go mental. I want to see Rey. I want to see a new baddie come out somewhere. I want to see the puppet master that we haven't seen.
Yeah.
Or I want to see Snoke come back because it's all a trick and he's tricked us.
Yeah, I think that I would say maybe The Force Awakens was more of a traditional Star Wars film.
Ooh,
yeah.
I just had a thought.
I'd like to see 9 because I think a lot of people didn't like the way this went as well. So maybe I think it will be a bit more of a traditional style.
Yeah.
It's a hard one, man.
I've got an idea,
I want them to be more tied up plots.
Do you want a fist of theory?
Go on then.
So, so we've started establishing seeing things we've not seen before.
Yeah.
What about Force Ghost Snoke?
Yeah.
Coming back and controlling everything from the death.
That could be cool. That would be really cool.
Sort of Exar Kun did that a bit in the old Legends, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think that would be wicked.
That would be cool. And then it would make him getting killed okay.
Even more, and also even more powerful. So what do you do now?
Yeah.
And what you do now is team up Kenobi, Yoda, Luke.
Battle of the Force Ghosts.
Yeah.
Well, Kylo Ren would be in a lot of shit if the Force Ghost.
But that's what I'm thinking. That'd be mad, wouldn't it? Like Kylo could be haunted by both Luke and Snoke.
Well, I mean, if you see what Yoda could do as a Force Ghost, then Snoke's gonna just kick the shit out of him.
I would love to the first thing we see of Kylo is him completely insane in a room being psycho.
Well, there you go. I wonder what the time scale is going to be because this one was immediately after. I wonder if there'll be a gap.
Big jump.
You think there'll be a big gap?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've still got quite a while to wait for that, a couple of years. So, it'll be interesting to see. I
would say at least 5-year jump. But it's got to be because
the Resistance needs to rebuild a bit, right?
We can't have a story where it goes straight into this again because not enough's happened. We need some time for things to happen.
And the First Order needs to rebuild a little bit as well.
Yeah. I tell you what I am glad about though now. After this film, I feel quite comfortable that they're going to show more stuff between Jedi and Force Awakens in the comics and books.
Yeah.
Because they don't need to hide it anymore. There's no secrets, is there?
Well, yeah, that's right. Yeah, they can reveal more stuff now, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, let's wipe this up.
All right, cool. So, let's say bye to everyone and tell them where they can find us. So, you can find us on Facebook at Star Wars Conversations, and there's now a new group that Colin has nicely made, a sister group, which is called Star Wars Conversations, The Last Jedi Spoilers. So it's this place where if people want to talk spoilers, they can come on there and talk spoilers. We don't want the spoilers on the main group because there are still quite a few people who haven't had a chance to see the movie. And, it
has only been out 2 days.
Yeah, but I know there are some people who aren't going to be able to see it till after Christmas and that. And, it's not fair to spoil whatever you think of the movie, whether you like it or not. It's not fair to try and spoil it.
And also, look, we're going to use that group as one place to just let it all out, guys. Let all your frustration out. But also, we look after you if you're upset.
Colin sends you a hug.
I will send hugs to anyone that needs a bit of a cuddle after what's happened.
So you can also find us on Twitter at Star Wars Convo or hashtag Star Wars Convo. You can find Colin on Twitter at
Captain Colin,
and you can find me at Eagle Eye 1933. We are all over wherever you can find podcasts. So that's iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and the Taylor Network of podcasts.
Yay!
Tell me about it, Colin.
Taylor Network of podcasts. Well, loads of great podcasts all under one feed. You've got Double Pace Spread, Gotham by Geek, Go Trek Yourself, Spirit 77, all the good ones.
There you go. So Taylor Network of podcasts. Check
Nothing's
that out.
on. That's the best
and
one.
that as well. Yeah. Well, we're the best one, but they're the second best one.
Yeah.
Right. So that'll do it for this week. Hope you enjoyed it. And
I enjoyed it, Jay.
I enjoyed it, Colin. So until next week.
Punch it, Chewie.
Shoot that piece of junk out of the sky.
Oh, that was cool.